Ladies and gentlemen, they've had Trump's taxes since February 25th, okay? The IRS has had Trump's tax returns for years and years and years. Nobody has yet found a legal statute that he broke, some type of horrendous scandal. Nobody has yet found a monumental story pertaining to money that he owed the government. They've had his taxes. Cy Vance of New York, the prosecutors, obtained his financial records on February 25th. You can go look it up. It was February 25th last I checked. So you have roughly 3 weeks, February 25th to March 18th today. What did they find? In addition to that, his tax records will show that he got $2 billion in loans from Deutsche Bank, CNBC. Deutsche Bank loaned more than $2 billion to Trump over 2 decades, New York Times. So this is all over. The New York Times broke this story. You think Deutsche Bank made any money? Do you think that maybe they made money off of President Trump? And that a headline like today's Washington Post headline, Trump faces an onslaught of legal problems as investigations and dozens of lawsuits trail him from Washington to Florida. Nothing has ever stuck. They literally have fabricated pretty much everything against him. He didn't compel anyone to commit any, atrocious act. The mayor of D.C. and the attorney general of D.C. never leveled charges at President Trump. So he was impeached, even though in a court of law, nobody went after him. And granted, it was a tragedy that took place. There shouldn't have been protests that day. There should have been a dialogue, discourse, debate, discussion fostered by the president. That's why I say he should never get on Twitter again. But they didn't. They impeached him based on circumstantial evidence that they believed showed he pressured Zelensky, but he didn't break any laws there, so they impeached him the first time. They didn't impeach him, by the way, on any legal statute the first or the second time. The first time, they definitely didn't. Maybe the second time, they might have tried to put a legal statute in there. I don't think that he was impeached on any legal statute, either impeachments. He was acquitted both times. The first impeachment did not mention obstruction of justice by Mueller, so that was the only thing they had with the Mueller probe. Oh, he obstructed justice into an investigation of something that might have happened but didn't. They didn't find that he worked alongside Russia. The evidence was insufficient. Mueller stated that in his report. So what do they have on him? The emoluments clause was thrown out. You have all of these, you have these lawsuits that are public relations ploys simply to paint Trump as this corrupt individual. Usually corruption leads to either a conviction or somebody like James Comey saying, gosh, we couldn't find intent. So the Clintons actually did engage, like Whitewater was a failed business land deal. Like Bill Clinton did lie about, I said, what is? Is I having a relationship? No, I is not. See? Who's lying here? You are. He actually committed perjury. Trump did not. And obstruction of justice. And he was impeached on both counts. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. Tell your friends about this channel. Please share this segment and every one of my segments. If you enjoy my voice, tell your friends about this channel. That's the best thing you could do. If you want to support my voice long term, my Patreon is below in the description section and the pinned comment. Also on hagoodman.com. It's there. You can read my writing in The Hill, The Huffington Post Salon, The Jerusalem Post, The Federalist, The Daily Caller, other publications. You could see my debates there as well. They constantly need to create this image that Trump is on the ropes. He's always on the ropes. He worked with Russia. We're just going to find out his tax returns. They even went after him for inviting Russia to infiltrate the DNC to inform us that Bernie Sanders was railroaded and thrown under the bus in 2016. So everybody they don't like, from Tulsi Gabbard to Bernie Sanders, who honeymooned in Russia, to Jill Stein, to Trump, to Biden's son's emails. Oh yeah, Putin wants you to know about that. The intelligence, whatever suits the Democratic Party, the intelligence community or 2 or 3 agencies will say, oh yeah, you know what? But Putin wanted you to know about Biden's son's emails. Yeah, they want you to know. It's like, well, they want us to know why, because it's incriminating, because it's a legitimate story. God, it just seems that Russia really fears the Democratic Party. Don't know why. Why on earth would they fear any Democrat? You have Democrats from Madam Secretary with private servers that almost certainly, according to James Comey, were infiltrated by the planet. And you have Biden's son who just leaves laptops at computer repair stores that say, oh, I give 10% to the big man, meaning that he has his son broker deals for him and he meets people. They're in the emails themselves. Like, where are Trump's emails? Maybe because he has a personality people don't like, and so therefore he's capable of anything. Democrats have a personality that Hollywood and journalists and media like, so even though they've actually committed horrendous acts and engage in criminal behavior, everything is swept under the rug. That's why the majority of Americans don't trust media. This is according to polls. The same polls that say, it's funny, media will have like a string of negative stories on any topic, especially Trump, and then follow it up with a poll saying, well, most Americans don't agree with Trump on this. Yeah, you've engaged in a barrage of negative stories for 2 months straight, and then you have a poll saying, yeah, nobody trusts Trump. Okay, but despite the virtual monopoly of political thought in this country by oftentimes apoplectic, morally superior liberals, you still have the majority of Americans not trusting media, believing that publications and cable stations have a specific objective, a political objective, agenda. But here, before becoming president, Donald Trump took loans totaling more than $2 billion across nearly 2 decades from Deutsche Bank. So, what are they investigating? They claim to be investigating whether or not Trump inflated his net worth through real estate. That's different from Michael Cohen's taxi company imploding because of Uber and Lyft and just his taxi medallions in New York, plummeting in value. There was at least a financial calamity there, or, an implosion that you could look to and say, okay, millions of dollars was lost. And so therefore, Michael Cohen then lied about a whole bunch of things, and then the banks got involved. They wanted to get him anyway. So his finances were scrutinized, and they found foul play, and he's in prison. Okay. That was pretty quick. That was like a pretty quick ordeal. Like, he went from supporting President Trump to being sent to prison within the span of 6-7 months. Less than that. They have been investigating Trump for 4 years. They looked through his finances with Mueller. They looked through everything that he did with Mueller. They found nothing. They impeached him on nothing to do with the Mueller probe. So that should tell you what a farce and a charade the whole Mueller investigation was. They didn't even impeach him, the first impeachment, which, by the way, preceded the crisis that Democrats, according to the New York Times, had the worst outcomes. 40% of all the lives lost are in 7 Democratic-run states. 1 out of every 5 Americans who lost their lives reside in New York or California. How on earth is that Trump's fault? But of course, they blame Trump. And President Trump didn't do himself any favors with the Twitter account. See, President Biden's Twitter account, he's never speaks. He hardly ever speaks. And when he does, and it's a train wreck always, they either cut the mic or, because he's very charismatic and he's awesome. My goodness. Oh my God. A wonderful, wonderful person. Yes, wonderful. But $2 billion that Deutsche Bank loaned Trump for 2 decades. Are you trying to say, are New York investigators trying to say that they've lost money? They just deliberately lost money for their bank, one of the largest financial institutions on the planet. They just were duped by Trump and his orange authoritarian charm. Where did he do wrong? Well, he inflated his net worth. Okay. Go to any real estate developer. Go to anyone selling a house. Forget about like office buildings and hotels. Go to anyone selling a house and try to negotiate with that person. Okay? The bank, if they're loaning you money, is always going to try to say, your collateral is not worth that much. And if you're trying to buy a house, or if you're trying to, the owner of the property is going to say, yeah, this is worth a lot more than what you want. That's what you're willing to pay for. Real estate is difficult. It's difficult to prove that Trump inflated his net worth with real estate in New York that put him on the Forbes wealthiest list since its inaugural issue. Have fun doing that. What are the New York prosecutors going to say? Oh no, this building isn't worth that much. And then Trump comes back. He's like, "What are you talking about? This is fantastic. Oh my God! Oh yeah." What are they going to try to say? He inflated his net worth. That's the first issue with Deutsche Bank. Why didn't Deutsche Bank or any of the banks he worked with notify the authorities or stop doing business with Trump? Because they made money off of him. You think that they don't know how to make money? You think that bureaucrats who get a government salary know more about making money than a bank or than Trump? You think journalists who just want Trump's demise know more about making money? The one thing Trump knows how to do is make money. You could say that he's, they always try to cut him down to size, and like, they think he's this big bully, and they think like he's never been successful. He was the president of the United States of America, and he's a billionaire. And he has a family who loves him. What more do you want in this life? I mean, the main thing is a family who loves you. You don't need to be a billionaire. You don't need to be the president of the United States of America. He's pretty much achieved like everything anybody could ever want. He was the most powerful man in the world. He's a billionaire. He conquered Hollywood, which is why Hollywood has a vendetta. What more can this man? He presided over the lowest unemployment, a record low unemployment throughout most of his tenure. The governors like Andrew Cuomo and others who tanked their own states, Andrew Cuomo presided over the worst outcomes. They had the most heavy-handed policies. That's not Trump's fault. That's not Trump's fault. And so he, first president to step foot in North Korea, Abraham Accords, peace between Israel, UAE, Bahrain, Morocco. And when people try to mitigate his accomplishments, that's not a big deal. Well, why didn't it happen during President Obama? Why wasn't President Obama or Bush the first presidents to step foot in North Korea? If it's not that big of a deal, why didn't others do? Why was he the first to do that? We had record low unemployment. They said, "Oh well, it's because of President Obama." Like, well, okay, but they don't say that. They don't say that the mishandling of the pandemic was because President Obama did not prepare us, did not predict anything. Neither did Democrats. They were impeaching Trump right before the crisis hit. So it's like. By the way, I will have a live stream later this evening. Be here for the live stream. To my 13-minute crowd audience, tell your friends about the live stream, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not a fan of social media, but if you're still on, share my segments. But even then, honestly, I would say delete I've deleted my Twitter account close to 3 years ago. I say do so, and Facebook account. There's no point in having Facebook or Twitter. But if you call up your friends, family, tell them about this channel. Tell your friends, tell your family, anyone who might enjoy my voice. If you've lasted for 13 to 14 minutes, then you enjoy this channel, and you definitely can help make it grow by just simply sharing the videos and telling your friends and family to subscribe. Ladies and gentlemen, I will be back. $2 billion is important. The link should be below in the description. He got $2 billion. His taxes show this. So they've had it for 3 weeks now. Has there been over 3 weeks, has there been any evidence of grandiose foul play, financial crimes, misconduct? No. They just have, he's on the ropes. It's like Democrats have lost objectivity. and they're stuck in their own reality now. Which is why 2022 will come as a nice surprise. Republicans will take over the House, hopefully the Senate, and it'll be a completely different ballgame. Instant impeachment, by the way, from his son's emails. Give me your thoughts below. Be here tonight for the live stream.